What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Land, and today we are going back to Kirby in the Forgotten Land and looking at all of the Mouthful-Mode captures and seeing which one would be the best. We already ranked all of the copy abilities, but now it's time to rank the ones where Kirby just puts his mouth on everything. There are 14 total Mouthful-Mode captures. We are going to rank all of them. Now, these rankings include the kind of area that you use them in, what type of puzzles they're used in, how strong they are, how goofy and fun they could be, and just kind of how important they are to the overall story. That's all the criteria going into each ranking. So if you're excited to see my ranking, and before we get started, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Kirby, because you guys have been helping out so much. Thank you so much for tuning in to this Kirby content. It's been tons of fun to make, and I can't wait to continue to talk about more with you guys. Starting the list and coming in at number 14, we have Dome Mouth Kirby. Dome Mouth Kirby is really just that. Kirby putting his mouth on the top of some dome lid in order to open it up to get some goodies. That's really about it. All you do is wiggle the stick in order to get him to pop off, and yeah, you can kind of roll around on the ground a little bit afterwards, but that's really all the kind of Mouthful-Mode copy ability does. It's just kind of a way to get some hidden treasure. Nothing really special here. Storage Mouth Kirby is kind of the same thing here, but at least it has some type of actual benefit and kind of puzzle element to it. You'll pretty much just suck on these lockers and knock yourself over to always reveal something behind it for the most part. It'll be some type of maze or map, and this is kind of cool, and it can lead you into some type of chase. I wish there was more of this in the game. It really just used for this Alive 'Em All setting. There's of course that setting at the end where Kirby kind of brings down an entire wall, but it's pretty useful for some situations. Once again, I feel like it was underused, and I would have loved to see some deeper puzzles and, more map elements leading Kirby on a bigger goose chase for some secrets. That'd be really cool. Pipe Mouth Kirby has the ability to roll down a hill, and all you can do really is jump. Now, this is actually kind of cool, believe it or not, if they would have once again had more sections like this. I can only count and remember around 2 to 3 different ones that I had to do, and they were actually really fun. I would have loved to just go down a larger hill and just continue to jump and hit my jumps and time them really well. Of course, there's like a rare stone challenge where you get a longer version of this, but I just wish this was implemented a little bit more in the actual game. There's some cool aspects of it, and just rolling over enemies feels really good, and at least the desert world definitely did so a little bit longer than anything else I've seen so far in this game. So I really like this, but it definitely needed more representation. Coming in at number 11, we have Light Bulb Mouth Kirby, and Kirby just waddles around as a light bulb lighting up the dark, and that's really about it. He can't really harm anybody, and he can't really do anything else besides walk around, and of course when he's shining this light, he doesn't walk very fast. But it does cause for some really cool looking levels. And once again, it was only like 2 levels they used this, which is ultimately its downfall still to me. Yes, you use this in the Wonderia theme park and then also once in Original Desert, but that's once again it. Just 2 little areas that you have to light up the dark and also light up these solar panels in order to move things around, and then you have these very specific new type of ghost Gordos that chase you when you light up too long, kind of like Boo's and Mario. But I just felt like as soon as we got Light Bulb Mouth Kirby, it was over before we even began, and that's kind of unfortunate because I would have liked to see more difficult levels regarding this ability. Stairs Mouth Kirby was a lot of things. It was goofy, it was extremely powerful, but I didn't really expect it to be kind of a puzzle element. And there are definitely specific parts of this game where you have to move these stairs in a very specific way and spit them out in a very specific area in order to get certain Waddle Dees or different hidden collectibles. And there's even a whole rare stone level dedicated to the stairs itself. And not just running things over and smashing things, no, you have to organize these stairs in a specific way and pattern in order to get through, which actually took me probably the most tries ever out of all the rare stone challenges, because it was very difficult and very puzzle oriented, and I love my puzzles. After being a Zelda fan, you really learn how to love puzzles, and this one was definitely a multitask copy ability, and I loved it a lot. Coming in at number 9, we have Vending Machine Mouth. This is where Kirby just decides to spit out all types of soda cans at his enemies, and this was actually pretty cool as well. You don't get to see a lot until kind of the later game, but it really does come in handy trying to break some of those heavier blocks, running away from moving walls and all types of different enemies that try to rush Kirby. You can just break right through them. It's also very satisfying to break through the signs within the theme park area at the nighttime zone. It is really cool, and I just think this is probably one of the strongest copy abilities, believe it or not. Those cans pack a punch, and they can do some serious damage. Scissor-Lift Kirby was actually ranked higher than I thought I was originally going to put it, and I think it's because of one specific area. But all Kirby does is move along this track on the ground to the left and to the right, and all you can do is go up and down, which is pretty basic, and once again, there's not a lot of moments in this game where you're utilizing this, but I just love the pure power of blasting up and completely clapping enemies that are above Kirby. But once again, like I said, in the winter area, there is one specific stage that I think that it is used in such an awesome way. There's a part where you have to lift Kirby up to the top of the fence and then blast him off the top of the scissor lift in order to fly with the gust of wind all the way to the background. I almost died not knowing I had to jump the first time, but it's actually probably one of my favorite parts in the entire game, no lie. I just think it's a very cool concept, blasting Kirby up into the wind all the way to the background. It was really well done and one of my favorite moments for sure. At the very end of the game, Kirby gets one more final mouthful mode, and I know a lot of people will be like, how is this not higher? Yes, Big Rig Mouth Kirby could have been a lot better in my opinion. I liked the idea. I thought it was really cool that Kirby is going to drive an actual freaking semi through the final boss. It's crazy, and you're kind of driving up these buildings, but it felt almost like it was auto-playing the entire time. You barely could move left to right, and you could even jump, but literally you can complete this without jumping at all. You really barely had to do anything. I think there's one little section where there was a pothole in the road where you had to veer to the left a little bit, but I felt like I wish I had more control over the car the same way you did with Car Kirby. But yeah, I just kind of felt like it was playing itself, and all I had to do was hold down the charge button and do some quick time events at the very end. I really liked the cinematic scope of this boss battle and like kind of the way this mouthful mode was used. As cool as it was, to me it just didn't really execute with the gameplay as much. Water Balloon Mouth Kirby was kind of funny to me, just waddling around with this giant stomach full of water. It reminded me from the Mario and Luigi games where Mario would have his stomach full of water in Superstar Saga, and Luigi had to hit him with the hammer in order to shoot the water out. And it kind of applies the same way here. You know, Kirby's washing away all the mud, Mario Sunshine style, and also cleaning out any enemies that's in his way. But it has lots of different uses. You can also put them in like giant cracks in the ground in order to break the floor. You can also shoot giant robot animatronics at the fair level in order to shoot them at giant crates in the background, which is kind of like a chain reaction effect that it can do. And you can also just kind of shoot down bosses with them and even mini bosses in a specific section. I think it does a lot of cool things for it just being a mouthful of water. Number 5, we have Roller Coaster Mouth. Now this one was horribly, I mean criminally underused. I would have loved to see so much more of this. I think there's really only 3 instances in the entire game, and one of those instances is post-game that you'll actually utilize this roller coaster. And it sucks because you don't do a lot. You just move to the left and to the right in order to lean out of the way, but I would have loved to see more of this. I don't even think there was a Star Road version of this at all, where you had a bonus challenge of riding on a roller coaster, which would have been perfect. But nothing. You know, moving left and right really fast is some of the most fun I've ever had. I don't know why, I can't explain it, and I just love the scenic routes that these roller coasters take throughout the game. And of course, the first one is just an amusement park, but by the end of the game, you're going through this lava-filled area, and then even in the post-game, there's some very difficult areas that you'll go through, and I'm just like, oh, Nintendo, I would have loved to see so much more of this. It was such missed potential. I love Roller Coaster Mouth Kirby. I'm sorry, did someone say missed potential? Oh yeah, there's more. Kirby can fly in this game, but not a lot. It's just so stupid. You have Arch Mouth Kirby, which allows Kirby to glide through the air, and there's some really cool scenic routes and areas, and even secrets sometimes that you can find and go off the beaten path. And I love the way they utilize this, especially the second time you use it in Redgar. There's a portion where Kirby barely slides underneath a closing door, which feels like something straight out of an action movie. I love the usage of these, but once again, it was so underused. And I think they could have even used it for a bigger part of the story. Maybe Kirby flying to Lab Discovera, or maybe some type of boss chasing Kirby in the air, like a new version of Kracko or something, chasing Kirby as he's gliding through the air, and Kirby has to glide into him multiple times. I would have loved to see this actually be a big part of it, or maybe as Lab Discover is kind of breaking and blowing up and falling apart at the end, they could have added, you could glide away from all the falling debris, you know, as a post-game thing. I don't know, I feel like there could have been something else, but yeah, they missed the mark again, I feel like, because this was another really good mouthful mode ability. Coming in at number 3, we have Cone Mouth Kirby. Now this one actually had a lot of uses and was the only mouthful mode that had its own boss dedicated to it as well. You could use it to completely crash through the Tortildings and break through the building exterior that they had as their shell. but you also use it to break through pipes in order to splash yourself upward into higher levels and just get into other areas. I thought it was pretty useful, and the fact that you used it most of the game was, pretty evident that it was one of Kirby's more prominent Mouthful Mode capture abilities, and for it being a cone, it did a lot of good things. It had some fun moments throughout the game, and not to mention it was extremely powerful, absolutely destroying any enemy or giant enemy in your path. Coming in at number 2, we have the Car Mouth Kirby. Now this was a copy ability used a lot actually, and I love the ways it was used, especially in Wonderia, which actually had a whole stage themed around racing around a racetrack, and you could even do so in a quicker way by taking your own shortcuts through boxes and through different types of tires and stuff. And I just loved the kind of aesthetic of it. It felt really good to control. It was really good to do little small puzzles and puzzle rooms by quickly getting to the other side of the room. It was just a fun copy ability to drive around a stage as a car. It kind of reminded me of riding those ice skating boots from Mario 3D World, and it kind of worked in the same vein, but this time you had a little bit of a boost that you could use, and it was fun just to uncover secrets by running into walls and hitting cracks everywhere. It was a really fun copy ability. And the Mouthful Mode that actually takes number 1 and took me by surprise is Ring Mouth Kirby. This was actually very versatile throughout the game, and just so many options and different things that combine to make this ability one of my favorites. The gust of wind that it shoots out is probably one of the strongest attacks in the entire game and covers a giant range around Kirby. It just feels fun to walk around as Ring Kirby, blowing hot air out of Kirby's mouth at enemies and destroying them. Not to mention, it's a complete mini-boss destroyer as well. You can use it to turn on different fans for different puzzles, and you can actually use it to ride on a boat and push yourself through different canals and break through different walls, and even destroy the giant alligator creatures that nothing else in the game can destroy. This is what's so satisfying about this Mouthful Mode ability. It's so good to me, and I love the way it's used throughout this game. It's a very basic concept, just having a ring in Kirby's mouth, but it does so in such a satisfying way. Those were my top 14 Mouthful Mode abilities from Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Let me know down below what you guys think of this list, and where would you rank your Mouthful Mode comparisons, because I want to know what you guys think and what were your reasons for listing them where you did. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.